In the heart of 17th century Angola, a land rich in culture, resources, and beauty, there lived a remarkable woman named Nzinga Mbande. She was not only a queen, but a fierce warrior and a cunning diplomat, determined to protect her people from the fierce, encroaching colonial powers that threatened to enslave them. Nzinga's story, filled with bravery, suspense, and resilience, has been too often forgotten. But today, we will unveil the epic tale of this extraordinary queen. As the sun set over the kingdom of Ndongo, the air was thick with tension. The Portuguese, hungry for power and wealth, were expanding their influence in Africa, seeking to control the trade routes and enslave the people. Nzinga, the sister of King Angola, was acutely aware of the looming threat. She had grown up hearing tales of bravery from her grandmother and the importance of fighting for one's people. When her brother died unexpectedly, Nzinga became the queen. But she was not just a ruler. She was a woman of action. With her kingdom on the brink of invasion, she knew she had to act decisively. The Portuguese were relentless, and their armies were marching closer every day. Nzinga understood that to confront the Portuguese, she needed allies. She called for a meeting with the Portuguese governor, João Fernandes de Almeida, to negotiate a peace treaty. The meeting was set in a grand hall adorned with vibrant tapestries, but the atmosphere was tense. Nzinga arrived with her entourage, but when she entered the room, she found that there were no chairs for her, only for the men. Unfazed by this slight, Nzinga calmly took a stand and demanded a chair, saying, "I will not negotiate while standing. I am a queen." Her boldness earned her the respect of those present, but the Portuguese were still cunning. They offered her gifts and promises, but Nzinga knew their words were just a facade for their true intentions. Despite the facade of diplomacy, Nzinga quickly realized that the Portuguese had no intention of honoring any agreement. They sought to expand their control over her land and exploit her people. As she left the meeting, a sense of urgency gripped her heart. Inevitable. With time running out, Nzinga rallied her people. She trained them in the art of war, teaching them not only how to fight, but also how to strategize. The women of Ndongo became warriors, learning to use bows and arrows, swords and spears. Nzinga's charisma and leadership inspired everyone around her. She believed that freedom was worth fighting for, and her people felt the same. Nzinga also turned to the neighboring kingdom of Matamba, ruled by Queen Nzinga, another powerful leader. By forging an alliance, they would strengthen their forces against the Portuguese. But the path to alliance was fraught with suspicion and past grievances. Nzinga sent envoys to Matamba, and after a series of negotiations, she won the queen's trust. The day of reckoning arrived. The Portuguese troops, heavily armed and confident, marched toward Ndongo. Nzinga led her warriors to the front lines, her heart pounding with both fear and determination. The sun glinted off her armor, and her presence alone inspired her soldiers. In the first skirmish, Nzinga's forces used guerrilla tactics to their advantage. They knew the land well, and they employed clever strategies to ambush the Portuguese troops. The battle raged, and despite being outnumbered, the warriors of Ndongo fought valiantly, using their agility and knowledge of the terrain to outmaneuver their opponents. However, the Portuguese were relentless. They retaliated fiercely, and as the dust settled, the reality of war became clear. Victories would be hard-won, and losses would be felt deeply. As the war continued, Nzinga faced another challenge: betrayal from within her ranks. Some of her trusted advisors began to doubt her leadership. Swayed by the promises of the Portuguese daring move, Nzinga invited her advisors to a council meeting. When they arrived, they were met with an unexpected sight: a lavish feast prepared in their honor. As they celebrated, Nzinga's loyal soldiers quietly surrounded the hall. One by one, she confronted the disloyal advisors, demanding their loyalty. With a masterful display of diplomacy, she persuaded many to remain loyal, but some were arrested for their treachery. The conflict escalated until it reached a boiling point. Nzinga and her combined forces launched a decisive attack against the Portuguese stronghold. The sun rose over the battlefield, casting long shadows as the two armies faced each other. Nzinga's strategy was brilliant. She set traps, used the element of surprise, and inspired her warriors with her courage. The battle was fierce, and the sound of clashing swords and war cries filled the air. Nzinga fought alongside soldiers, leading them with fierce determination. After hours of combat, the tide began to turn in favor of the Ndongo and Matamba forces. The Portuguese, realizing they were losing control, retreated in chaos. Nzinga's heart soared with the knowledge that they had won a significant victory. But the war was far from over. Nzinga's resilience became legendary. Even after the Portuguese eventually regained control, her fight inspired future generations. She became a symbol of resistance against colonialism, a figure whose bravery resonated across Africa and beyond. In her later years, Nzinga continued to fight for her people, using her diplomatic skills to negotiate peace and protect her kingdom. She traveled, met with other leaders, and shared her story, ensuring that her legacy would never be forgotten. Though Nzinga faced many challenges, she remained steadfast in her belief that freedom and dignity were worth fighting for. Her story serves as a powerful reminder of the strength of women, the importance of unity, and the unyielding spirit that resides within those who dare to stand against oppression. The tale of Nzinga, of Ndongo and Matamba teaches us that bravery, resilience, and diplomacy can change the course of history. It reminds us that every individual has the power to stand up for what is right, to fight against injustice, and to inspire others to do the same. Nzinga's legacy continues to inspire people around the world to this day, serving as a beacon of hope for those who seek freedom and equality.